Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Shai, Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Shai, Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Howell, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashem, Rukakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, true well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there. You Akim, this is the Akim that do the singing that most truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shimon, this week's topic is going to be entitled Where's Gad? A common thing used by scoffers is they'll say, yo, you don't see a lot of Gadites or a lot of Native Americans amongst you. And, they think of the traditional image of Gad, which is, the heavy fringes and the, you know how Gad do, how they dress and all that. And they be like, oh, you don't see that like that. Yeah, I'll mainly see Judah. Well, you're looking as an outward man will look. All right. For example, I myself could be a Gadite, even though I'm from Jamaica, the land of Jamaica, which is the West Indies, which the West Indian, so-called West Indian, West Savage, by the way, that's what Indian mean. The people of the West Indies are commonly Benjamin. All right, but you got to understand that the tribes were scattered. Even going back during the time of Yahweh you had tribes mingled amongst other tribes. So that's one. Two is, how do you know? How do you know that there's not a lot of heavy Gadites listening? Because they'll say, "Oh, see, Gad's not the Jake." But if you look at any person that haven't been on a so-called Native American reservation, or the Reds for short, but what I've heard is it's no different than the damn ghettos, man. All right, and who put them there? Guess what? The same enemy. This is Deuteronomy 28:64. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai shall scatter thee among all people." And that's another thing too. You got to keep in mind. Look, if wherever Gad is, like where a bulk of Gad is, that's just where a bulk of Gad is. But there's Gadites scattered all over. And I want to say this too. I'm speaking for all the tribes, all right, of the Northern Kingdom. Even though the Northern Kingdom is waking up heavy, and you gotta look at it like this too. This word, it depends on where it's hit and where it hit and where the demographic is, so to speak. All right. So for instance, if let's use a place like Montana, where there's a lot of Gadites. If the word hit heavy in Montana, guess what? You're gonna see more Gadites in the camp than you're gonna see Jake, right? If you look at the camps in California, there's a lot more Northerners, all right, in certain parts of California, whether it be Issachar, than Judah. So wherever the word hit, generally speaking, that's where you're gonna see, based on the demographic, a lot of the camp made up of that particular tribe, man. All right, and that's just how it goes. And this thing is going global. So there's Israelites in predominantly northern tribe countries, man. All right, such as Ecuador, for example. That's just a quick example. So what if somebody was teaching, the brothers that's teaching out there in Ecuador, there's not a lot of Judah, at least physically apparent, because we know Judah is scattered everywhere. All right, the common Negro appearance of the woolly hair and all that. There's not a heavy dose of them in Central America like that. You know, I mean, even though the tribes have a more like if you go to parts of Brazil, you see how the variation of how the tribes look. You got people in Brazil because you got the slave trade was heavy out there. So the people of our tribes have been tossed to and fro and scattered all throughout parts of North, South, and Central America, man. For instance, I mentioned the West Indies. You had a lot of Arawak Indians, all right, and the Arawak Indians was also in the Dominican Republic. So our people that are caught up in the fact that, oh, you're too dark skinned, you're too light skinned, you got kinky hair, you got short hair, you got long hair, that's just one, the curses, and two, a tactic used by the enemy, the so-called white man, to pit you amongst each other, man. All right. Oh, recently, right? Let's look at this recent scenario, right? With the riots and protests, you got a lot of so-called Dominicans getting pissed off at Judah. See, this is why we don't like black people and all that. Which, if you're getting caught up in that protest riots, it's the same tactic. Like I said, it's a CIA psyop operation, man. Protesters are no different than moderate rebels. It's the same play. It says, Deuteronomy 28:64, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. So we in all parts of the world, okay? And how do we reach out all parts of the world? Via this internet, man. Because the tribes are scattered everywhere. We can't set up shop and open up a place in um where the Lakota Indians are so called, and then go to where the Cherokees are. I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know all the different particular um Gadite tribes and how it all works. If you want, the apostle elder Rakar always breaks down the different. He knows it because he's a Seminole, so-called Seminole Indian, which is the tribe of Reuben. So you got different elders that are. Oh, that's another thing too. You got elders that are Reuben and and Gad, right? But guess what? They look like Judah. They have a lot of Judah characteristics amongst them. You know what I'm saying? And you look at the picture above, you can see these Jakes on these Gadites on the left. Hey man, man, they got heavy Judite appearance, but look, they got that Gadite hair, right? So, but they were very dark skinned individuals. So they try to paint it and make it look like, oh, we look completely different. And the Jake on the right, same Gadite, he looked like an Ephraimite. He looked like a so-called Ecuadorian. He looked like a so-called Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just be think, oh, see, I don't have the traditional stereotypical image they got of Gad, which is not really stereotypical. You do have a lot of Gadites that look like how they have on the traditional left, but just because they don't look like that, all right, or necessarily have the appearance of Gad, don't mean that Gad is not waking up, man. It says, even unto other, and thou shalt serve other powers, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And they try to make it look like 144,000 is a large number, man. 144,000 is a very small number. It's a very small number because they see the camp, so they might see the camp might be 10 deep, or 5 deep or 2 deep, and they think, oh, this thing ain't moving. 144, you're not even close. Look, man, 144,000. Oh, speaking of that, look at the time. It's 11:44. It just turned 11:45. But yeah, our people, you can't be going on. Oh, y'all don't look like T.D. Jakes Church or Joel Osteen Church. Hell no, we don't want that, man. 144,000 is a very small number. And first of all, a bulk of the people that's going to wake up is going to wake up when we get them spiritual powers, when they see the Lord, see the chariots, because a lot of our people they don't have different parts of faith, man. You know, the word will do it for them. They don't got to see nothing. They don't need to see no chariots or nothing. Some of our people need to see things, man. It's just how it is. Different portions of faith. This is Psalms 55:21. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And I bring this scripture out because this is what locked up a lot of Gadites in the reservation system. All right, was these damn treaties. All right, because recently in the 1970s, you had Wounded Knee too. Okay, we got Wounded Knee too. That guy was still revolting and look, man, guy been revolting and protesting before this shit became cool. Before it became a hashtag on damn Twitter. Our people been protesting and rioting for the oppression that the so-called white man has done, man. And we've been out there protesting, but in a spiritual sense, the wickedness of this place for a long time. All right, because the so-called white man has fucked over every single tribe that's on the 12 tribe charts, man. All right. And on a deeper level, it's really the Most High paying us back for the sins that we have committed. Okay, and the Most High judges the nation. All right, he judges his whole nation. I'm not saying every single Israelite was worshiping Baal, because you always had the prophets on the scene. But guess what? The prophets were not exempt from the curses, because the Most High judges the nation. So that cuts that whole, but I know cool Edomites. I have a good Chinese friend. He never said anything to me. All right, so even if he did not wrong you your entire life, you've been on the earth 80 years, and this so-called heathen never did you wrong, well, is it going to exempt him from the prophecies? Hell no, man. All right, because the Most High judge as a whole nation, man. It says, but war was in his heart. His words were smoother than oil. See, I'm going to give you your own land where you're going to be tax-free. And there's, man, the reservations are fucked up, man. All right. They don't take care of God. They don't give God their just due, And that right there proves that you could get your so-called own, all right? But them curses are on your ass, man. Okay, because the Most I could have had it to where the reservation was a very splendid place and they were farmland, and but most of the land you see, it's kind of like just desert type land, you know. But the Most I could have had it to where it could have looked like, I don't know, the best cities in the world. If the Most I, but that right there proves this is not our rest. It says, but war was in his heart, his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So when a so-called white man tells you one thing, all right, through his word magic, all right, you have to be suspicious of it, man. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, never trust your enemy, all right? And you, pursuant to the Psalms, book of Psalms, chapter 81, we have enemies, man, all right? Right now, to the people that are listening that believe, all nations are your enemies, man, even 2/3 of your own people, okay? If they don't identify with this thing right here, then they're your enemy, man. And this is Genesis 49 and 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. So for the ones of those that's gainsaying against the Gadites, and oh, y'all have mad Gadites out there and talking that bullshit, okay? It says Gad's going to overcome in the end, man. Okay? Because you have a lot of Gadites that listen. And I'm talking about all the northern kingdom. They try to paint this thing like, oh, it's just, oh, it's just black people. That's why they say black Hebrew Israelites. That's why we try to drop that word black, man. That word black. None of the tribes are black, man. Okay? That's void of light. Hell no. We have all the light in the form of this word. All right? We're Hebrew Israelites. Okay? So we don't get caught in, again, that word magic. Black Hebrew Israelites. You know, that black in front of it, a lot of things pop in your mind, man. Mainly violence and negativity, man. So don't embrace the titles and proverbs that these heathens put upon you, man. You're a Gadite, all right? You're a Benjamite, Reubenite, Judite, Ephraimite, you know? Israelite, you're an Israelite of the 12 of one of your particular tribes. Get in the habit of saying that. And another thing too is you got a lot of wolves out there that's saying the Gadites are not a part of the 12 tribes, that they're heathens. Man, get the hell out of here, man. All right? Listen to reservation rap or reservation music, or not even that. Watch any Gadite culture, and you see that it identify with us down to the fringes, the way they speak, the broken Hebrew, the hoo hoo hawe and all that. That's all broken Hebrew. All right, and I'm gonna go into the prophecies that's showing that look, that Gad was during the time of King Hoshea, all right, and the Assyrian captivity, they fled Israel, man, and came over here to the lands of the north. Second Ezra 13 and 41, it says, but they took this counsel among themselves. Now, who's it they? All right, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Jerusalem was split after Solomon's when Solomon went off, and I was prophesied that it was happening. Okay, it was prophesied that it was happening. The 10 tribes formed their own kingdom after King Rehoboam's oppression. All right, guided under the wisdom of the not wisdom, but the incorrect wisdom of the younger men. He didn't take heed to the older men, and he put harder restrictions on the 10 tribes, and they formed their own kingdom. All right, and guess what? The 10 tribes are doing wickedness and madness and worshiping all other types of deities, man. And that's how come the Most High used the heathens to oppress their ass. All right, ultimately using the Assyrians, okay, to disperse them and import heathens in that land, man. So that caused massive confusion. But the few that wanted to still keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, all right, to the best of their ability, fled that persecution, man. It says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where the never mankind dwelt, man. All right, and if you go into the history, they fled, all right, from Israel, okay, and the winds and the currents, because they knew the winds and the currents, because they it wasn't the first time they went over the parts of Americas, man. When you go into the books of Kings, you find out that King Solomon used to come over the land of Ophir, which is America, to get gold and turkeys and gorillas, you know, and bring it back to Israel. All right, so they even have those Olmecs, you know, those big stone faces of what some people call them, think they're Negroes, but those are really Hamites, because what's this dude, Hiram LaBeouf, all right, which the Masons big up, all right, he worked for King Solomon, and he used to do things for King Solomon, like build a lot. He built a temple. You know, he was a master mason. All right, in the sense of how to cut stones and build things, man. That word mason is not a bad word; it's just a stone cutter, right? He was a master at it, you know. And when you go into the Josephus, he would love to hear proverbs and puzzles and riddles from King Solomon. They'll go back and forth, try to solve each other's riddles, you know. So King Solomon's wisdom was highly esteemed. Okay, so but going back to our point, our people knew about America, and they knew that they knew it was a land, but they never inhabited it. They would normally go back. So they came. That's why it says, "What a place where never mankind dwelt, like just stayed and lived there," and that's what our people did, man. Where the hell did the Gadites come from, man? So did they just drop out the sky? We know one thing: they was here before you. All right, so they had to have come from somewhere. It says, and don't say, "Oh, they dark skinned because of the sun," because you have dark skinned Eskimos. All right, which Eskimos are also um part of the tribes. All right, the elder already had got into that. It says, but they took um Elder Tazadak already broke that down. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would have leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes with their which they never kept in their own land. So boom. That's how come this dude James Adair, when he came here, he said, look, these guys have to be of the lost tribes because of the broken Hebrew they was they actually understood Hebrew, man. They came with Hebrew interpreters, all right. The way Gad dressed, all right, how they kept the land Sabbath, the different law session commandments that they still kept and passed down amongst each other, you know. And if you look at the Gadite today, like this Jake on the right, all right, they look, man, they just look like Jake. Jake have a certain look to him, you know, that's different from the heathens, man. The way they dress or whatever, the music they into, the culture, the stuff that they cook, eat, you know. And further foremost, you have Gadites and Reubenites that are apostles and elders in this truth, okay? And you know that the Most High is not gonna give his word unto a heathen, man. All right, so the gainsayers are saying, oh, we don't see heavy Gadites and this, that, and the third, and black Hebrew Israelites, and just trying to paint it look like this is a Judite thing. Well, you are deceived, man. All right, you are deceived, and whether sincerely or just paid off agents, but the tribe of Gad is gonna overcome at the last. All right, they're gonna get their revenge on this devil, and we all are. All right, and it's not gonna come at the hands of some goddamn George Soros funded bullshit Black Lives Matters, you know, diversion, CIA psyop tactic. Nah, we're gonna get our redemption when the Lord come back, man. Zephaniah 3:8, and I was meditating on Zephaniah 3:8, man. That says, "Weighty upon me." All right, and the fact that look, if you was to physically bear arms and start to kill and M16s and all that, guess what? You could be killing Israelites too. All right, if you was just in your blind rage, because guess what? Our people are so scattered that you have Israelites even scattered amongst the KKK, man. All right, you got Jake that look like old type, so you might just go pick up a rifle and start mowing down Edomites and so-called Chinese and East Indians, not knowingly you could be killing your brother. All right, because our people are scattered, so we don't have to, you know, I mean, 1 John 4, we speak and fill people out to discern if they're Israelites or not, but just going based off just what you see and you don't know. You know, so when the Lord come back, we're gonna know who's who and what's what, man. Okay, it says that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. Right, they got on the Euphrates River, and went around the horns of Africa, and the winds took them all the way down. All right, and back up to America, man. North America, and they entered into, and it took about a year and a half journey, because that's also in the Book of Kings. It took about a year and a half. All right, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed away. Because guess what? The waters are spirits, stars are spirits. The Most High used these spirits, all right, to guide them. Okay, to guide the seas and all that, to guide them over here, man. Because to what? To set up the prophecies, man. Verse 45, for though that country were a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, see, it broke it down, a year and a half. It says the same thing in Kings, And the same region is called Ashtoreth, man. All right. And when you watch that movie, oh man, I believe something Conquest. I forgot the name of the movie, but it tells you that Christopher Columbus, all right, and these different conquistadors read the Apocrypha, man, because it was once part of the King James Bible, all right. They read the Apocrypha, all right, and came over here and took. That's how they used. That's how they knew how to get here, man. All right. Christopher Columbus, which he never came in America. He just, he went into the West Indies, all right. They read these books, man. Okay, which Christopher Columbus or Cristobal Colon, so-called Jew, all right, got Gad and exported them back to Spain, all right, which at that time were being run by Negroes, okay. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella were Israelite as well, all right, because our people, the Moors, Jake, did rule parts of Europe. So you had, guess what? You had Jakes that enslaved other Jakes, all right, and that's not a far-fetched thing, okay. That's not a far-fetched thing. When the so-called Civil War was happening in America, which that was not about slavery at all, okay, because you had 5 northern states that had slaves, man, and didn't want to lose them, didn't want to break them up. But you had a place like South Carolina, which had one of the largest plantations. All right, the slave owner was a Jake. All right, so that's not some far-fetched thing. All right, it says, um, then dwell they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. All right, so basically, Gad been here for a very long time. All right, and you can't just say, just because they don't have, just like this, like you have Issacharites that have dark skin and woolly hair. You have Issacharites that look like myself. All right, that might look like Shaft. All right, but the common image of a Issacharite, Issacharite got that slick back hair, But just because you look one way, don't mean that's you got to be of that tribe, you know. Because we use the 12 tribe sign in a general sense, because generally the tribe has a certain characteristics, but that don't mean that you of that particular tribe right off the bat, Because again, our people was having a lot of sex, traveling, you know. So you can have an Ephraimite, okay, that might Ephraimite. Scripture says in Hosea that Ephraim's a cake unturned. That goes into all the tribes. You got dark skinned Gadites, light skinned Gadites. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a cut to our enemies, man. But guess what? Ultimately, the Lord is gonna bring us together and cut the hatred out that we have amongst each other, man. There ain't gonna be no DDP versus Bloods and Crips, and I hate black niggas and fuck niggas and nah, I ain't no black, our people. I can't do the Spanish accent right now. Papi, I ain't black, I can't do it. But this dude Jeffrey Godfrey, the comedian, he did a good job of explaining that our so-called Dominicans, they don't want to be black, even though they could be darker than you. This is like Isaiah 11:13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversary of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So the tribes are going to come back together, and ain't nothing you could do about it. And they're coming back together now. The word is bringing them back. The sign, all right, the hook, all right, the bait, all right, it's bringing the fishes, the signs, man. As it says in Ezekiel, it's been bringing the tribes back together, and that's one thing they don't want. They rather keep our people divided and fighting and killing each other. They don't want you knowing that you are brothers, man. Okay, and they don't want you to know that they're not the true people of the Lord, them so-called Jews. All right, because that will really collapse their system. That's why the word is more powerful than anything. Okay, that's how you're gonna bring this man down, because this is the fire that we're speaking of. All right, this man's system, the downfall of this man's system starts with teaching this word, and eventually, when the Lord come back, all right, it's gonna physically manifest itself in the earth. All right, when the Lord comes back with his chariots like a whirlwind to bring fire upon this place, man, and have these the missiles get let loose to wipe out America and wipe out certain parts of this earth. All right, and then we're gonna replenish and rebuild. Well, they're gonna do it, the slaves, okay, under our order, okay. Hey, so look, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakal Kodash. All right, I should have put where's Gad right damn here. I might do that in the title. All right, so with that, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, double honors to the apostles and the elders, and of course, stay strong, Akim.